Well, welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Antigua. With my goggles is my friend who's getting rebooted, Noah Bailey.
Oh, goody.
So, we have some fun stuff to talk about. We have some animated stuff that's going live action stuff going animated, live action stuff that's turning into a series, all of it. So let's just jump right into it. For some stupid reason, even though no one asked for this,
Yeah,
Disney announced a live-action remake of Moana.
Which is like, what, 5, 6 years
Got in
old?
2016.
Oh, man. Okay,
7.
7 years old. Sorry. No, no, incorrect. Wrong. Why not just make Moana 2 before you make a remake? I mean,
They
what?
are
That makes more sense.
they announced they would want a series for Disney Plus like a year or two ago, and that's apparently still happening. But
Huh?
apparently Dwayne Johnson himself is like spearheading this project, and you just know
Ah.
it's 1,000% this would not have happened if Black Adam actually took off. Like, there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
way. Like,
No,
he
he
needed to
was
boost his
born to
ego
play.
or something.
Because he was born to play Maui,
Sure.
the fictional character from. Yeah, no, I mean, clearly. We thought it was Crypto the Super Dog, but then it was Black Adam, and now, for sure, it's Maui.
Okay.
Like, this is the one.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, I don't get it because I have. While this makes more sense to make live action than some of the other choices they've made, as far as like this actually has people in it,
Yeah.
it
You still shouldn't do
still
it.
doesn't. No, they definitely still shouldn't do it because it doesn't like this movie's like one of the newer Disney movies by a long shot. Like,
Yeah. Like,
no.
you could somehow, I could maybe hear an argument for remaking the ones from the 90s. Either the animation might be a little
Yeah,
dated, like,
yeah,
maybe, like, for example, The Lion King, like, maybe it does make sense to cast black people in a movie set in Africa, even though they are still lions. If people might care about that, whatever. I don't think it matters, but whatever. Like, but like,
it
but
really doesn't. I don't understand that at all. Like, they're lions and and it's also like not like I don't know. I mean, if that logic, shouldn't they all be casted by black people? Like, are we just okay with some of them being Seth Rogen? Like, I don't
yeah, I
even
don't
like.
know.
I don't know how that's okay. I'm like, they're all from
Right.
Africa, I guess. I mean, they're all animals. I would assume they're all. I mean, with that, I don't know. But
Yeah.
also at the same time, I mean,
And like, you could also have the argument of these 25, 30-year-old movies. You could have the opportunity to make these movies for a newer audience. Sure, even though those are timeless classics that will live on, will pass the live action remakes. That logic could exist where, like, because they are so old, new kids haven't seen them, so so make a new one, whatever. But this is a really new movie. Like, there's none of those are factors here.
everyone who is going to potentially see this movie had the opportunity to see the last one, except for like a few exceptions. And for those exceptions, you could just save money and just put it on Disney Plus. So like,
Yeah, yeah, and
because you're probably not going to take anyone who's young enough that they missed the first one. You probably don't want to take to the theater anyway. I mean, I don't know. If you're less than
yeah,
like probably 10.
yeah. I don't know, and it's also just one of those projects where like you said, you could. It is more feasible to do it in live action, but it is a very, very pretty movie, and live action won't make it significantly better, especially if it's all washed out and
Yes.
gray like Little Mermaid is for some reason. Um, but also, like, specifically, like, so this is specifically being spearheaded by Dwayne Johnson, who played Maui, who is like a very, very large entity. Like Dwayne Johnson is huge. He's a big dude, but he's not like. Are they gonna CG Dwayne Johnson to make him look more like Maui, or
Probably not.
right?
They're probably just it's Dwayne Johnson. You know he's gonna just play Dwayne Johnson. Like we know by now he's just gonna play himself in any movie he plays in. Which again is fine for most things, but I feel like that doesn't really make sense to do. I don't know. Cause I mean I guess they're probably gonna CGI the hair, maybe. I don't
I
know.
guess.
But I mean other than that,
If even like Black Adam
probably not.
should have had
That's
hair.
what I was yeah, I mean that's kind of my thing. I think they're just gonna make it him. Like they're just not. It's not. We're doing it because The Rock.
Right. And just this, the very concept of remaking Moana instead of making a sequel, just proves that like for whatever reason Disney just still doesn't care about animation, and I don't know why. Like they've built their entire foundation on 70, 80, 100 years of doing animated stuff. And now we can't go 7 years without thinking we should reboot the objectively really good animated thing. Like, what are we doing?
I, I go back. Yeah, I think kind of what you said earlier. I think it's just Dwayne Johnson just pushing this, and they're kind of like, fine.
Right. It's also funny that this was announced, I think, on April 3rd. So it was like, is this just when I first saw it, I was like, is this just like a late April Fool's joke or something? Am I missing? Like, no, it was.
You would hope. You would hope so.
No,
But no, it's real.
it's real.
Unfortunately.
Like, the I don't know. Like, I'm. I'm not going to see it in theaters. I'm just not going to unless someone drags me to it. But I, whatever. I'm sure it'll at least make some money, but
Probably not enough.
probably not enough. Anyway, something I am ridiculously excited for. There is apparently going to be an animated adaptation of Scott Pilgrim for Netflix.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yep, with the entire
See, that
original
one makes
cast.
sense.
Yes, like the entire original cast is coming back. For the producers, Edgar Wright is still attached. Like there is, like every single thing about this is lining up to be just phenomenal.
Well, again, like if I could think of a live action movie that would make sense animated, that's like probably the first one you would think of because half the stuff in that movie is just like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, and, like it's based on a graphic novel anyway, so like
Right.
just make the characters look kind of like that in motion. There's been a video game. There was like a animated pilot that kind of like became the movie. So there's clearly been, and there was some animated bits from the movie anyway. So there's clearly passion from the people making it that want to do it in animation. And it's just amazing that every single person like agreed to come back to it. Like Anna Kendrick, that was one of her like first big movie roles, and she's just blown up well, like way bigger than anyone expected. She's still coming back. Brie Larson's coming back. Michael Cera's coming back. Mary Louise Winstead, like all these people are coming back to reprise their character. It's just cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be like that's great. And again, I think that shows that like whenever you're able to get the cast that back that easily, that shows that like they really care about it too. And that's a big
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah, and even though I personally really, really like how the movie ended, it's not technically how the comics ended because the movie came out right before the comic ended. So they just made up their own ending, and then the comics had their own thing happen at the end.
Oh, okay.
So like, and there is also a couple of other things here and there that were a little different from the comics, not enough to like, not enough to really matter. Like I know people who were like hardcore comic fans complain about every little minute detail that's different about any given adaptation, but like it is a fantastic adaptation of the source material. But if they did want to make something that was like exactly like the comics, might as well do it animation since it was already just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's. I'm ridiculously excited for this, and I hope Netflix does give it the proper funding because their track record with animation hasn't been the strongest either. But hopefully, with Edgar Wright still attached, with all of this star power behind it, hopefully they'll they'll do what needs to be done to make it perfect.
Probably.
Yeah.
Especially, you can tell there's a lot of passion in here. So.
Oh yeah. So the last kind of news in this similar vein. Um, Again, another thing that I thought was a April Fool's joke that I missed. Apparently, HBO Max is in talks to make a Harry Potter reboot series for HBO.
Like redoing the movies
Yes,
as a
as a
series.
series. I guess
Why?
7 seasons, like one season per book. I guess.
That's like redoing Star Wars, but like making a Star Wars series about the movies. Like that doesn't really. I feel like you could very easily just make a series about areas outside or between movies or something.
Yes, there there are so many issues with why this is a bad idea. Top of the list, which I'm not going to get too much into, but J.K. Rowling is not the most popular person right now. So that
Yeah.
discussion out of the way. That is over there. We're not going to touch it right now. Moving on. Like on for like as far as like actual like reasons why like the thing itself shouldn't exist. The fact that just the iconography of the Harry Potter films is so is just so iconic that they made an entire Universal Studios theme park around it. Like
Mm-hmm.
the cast was a lightning in the bottle situation where every single person, for the most part, was perfectly cast. Like Alan Rickman was perfect for Snape. Have you seen the movies?
No, I was not. I was never allowed to
Okay.
watch Harry Potter growing up, and then by the time I was, I kind of forgot about it.
Okay, so just trust me
I
when
definitely should watch it. I mean, I believe you. Everyone,
yeah.
I have met very few people who have seen Harry Potter that don't like it.
Yeah.
So,
Daniel Radcliffe, perfect as Harry. Some people complain his
yeah.
eye color is different. I couldn't care less.
His eye color. How dare he
Right.
have to be born with the wrong eye color?
Emma
I've
Watson.
never heard that. Wait, okay, is it like super relevant what color Harry Potter's eyes are?
It's relevant
Like,
that
does
he
it
has the
really
same
matter?
eyes as his mom, but in the movie, his mom and him have the same eye color, so that doesn't really matter.
I don't think I've ever heard someone say they don't like something because they have the wrong colored eyes. That's
Again,
like the most like nitpick thing I've ever
you're
heard.
right. It's not many people, but I have heard it here and there. But like Emma Watson and Rupert Grint, they played Hermione and Ron phenomenally. I don't remember her name. McGonagall, Dumbledore, like every single person is perfect. And you're just gonna kind of try to do that again? Are you gonna make Hogwarts look different? Are you gonna make like goblin designs, the dragon designs, elf? Like, are these things gonna? Because no one on this planet is going to see a new design for Dobby and agree, yes, that's what Dobby should look like. We've already been exposed. Like, we love this character. Has been, like, I just, I don't. I don't know why anyone would think this was a good idea, especially when they're like, "Oh, we're gonna try to make it as close to the books as possible." When, like, I think some stuff could, those books are getting on 30 years old. I think, some stuff maybe could be helped if it was updated a little bit. But also, there's so much stuff that they could do as far as like prequel stuff, future stuff,
Yeah.
like way in the past stuff. Like,
Yeah, just stuff that doesn't affect what you've already done in a bad way. It just adds to it. Like
mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, that feels very like potentially sabotagey for some reason.
Yep, because there's like Harry's dad, like he has his own little like group that he ran around with who were pretty significant characters. Um, there were some flashbacks to that time, but like some people would like to see an entire movie or series just about. They're called the Marauders. Just have a movie or show about the Marauders. A couple of
Cool.
seasons, just see what they're up to that whole time. Show like have an entire series based on the founders of Hogwarts. Like that's completely untapped timeline that like has been kind of hinted at, but you could just really delve into that. Again, future stuff or like just there's so much stuff in the Harry Potter universe that you could pull from, but instead
Yeah.
Hollywood is gonna Hollywood and be like, oh, we're gonna make so uncreative, we're gonna remake the thing that people already think is really good anyway. Like, come on.
Yeah. And like, yeah, and I mean, and I think that's also a big thing. It's like you can also kind of do the whole like, all right, even if like, people don't love everything we're writing new, we could also throw in some fan service and kind of, make it
Yep.
look a little pretty. It's like, we'll just that thing, and then we just have, oh, is that Is that Harry in the background for like a split cameo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then, oh, boom.
Like
But no, let's
if
just
ever you
redo
cut to
everything.
Harry's dad, it just is Daniel Radcliffe. Like that, they're totally gonna do something like that.
Ooh.
Assuming he would want to, they would totally do something like that.
Yeah, he would. I think he would definitely want to, though. I mean, that's. I mean, I know, like typecast is like, or not. It's not typecast, but like getting shoehorned into one role. But I mean, that's Harry Potter. Come on.
I don't know. It just nothing about this seems like a good idea. Like I don't know. Like I know Harry Potter is a very very big franchise. Obviously, like just it the studio clearly just saw dollar signs, you know, and they're like, we need to pump the HBO Max numbers up, so we need to make a Harry Potter series. But what's the path of least resistance? Oh, we'll just remake, remake what?
Yeah.
After all that, are they gonna remodel the land in Universal Studios to make it look like the new ones? Because I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, or at least change part of it for some reason.
Right, like they did with the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Every time there was a new one, they would change a couple of things to match with the new
Hmm.
movie. Like,
Which, yeah, it feels kind of overkill. It's like I feel like it still works,
yeah,
but
and,
they
and
got to change it for no reason.
and in theory, like a 6 episode season, 7 seasons, one per book, that could work. And I appreciate how they're. So here's the major difference between something like Harry Potter and something like Percy Jackson.
Hmm.
Percy Jackson, they tried to make movies of that, clearly riding off the coattails of Harry Potter. They tried
Right.
to make that work, and it failed spectacularly. No one
This
liked
is true.
those at all. They were not faithful to the books at all. Like, just things happened that just were completely illogical and just
It just didn't work out.
the casting was overall fine, but that was about it. Whereas Harry Potter, although it is, there are some things that are different, it was still relatively faithful and like, you could just watch the movies and experience like, at least 85-90% of Harry Potter and really love it. Like I read the books, at least most. I think there was one. I read the books, but as far as like, I definitely watched the movies and like that to me that is Harry Potter, and I think that's fine. You can't watch the Percy Jackson movies and be like that is Percy Jackson because A, they didn't finish, but also they're bad. So now they're rebooting with a show. Give each book more time to be adapted, and it'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing you could argue with the like Disney movies we were talking about earlier. It's like, let's take, let's see, let's remake a movie. Let's take something that did really well and just do it again. Let's do the Lion King again for no reason.
Right.
Let's do the Little Mermaid again for no reason, even though it's already was insanely popular at the time and is still very widely considered amazing. There's
Hmm.
no reason to redo it. Versus, what's something we did that didn't work out? Okay, let's try. I don't know, Atlantis. Let's try, like all these other movies
Hmm.
that like it makes sense to give it another shot. And in the same way, like, for Harry Potter, it's like, let's try something else. Like maybe the things that are immortalized and already killing it, we shouldn't just redo them. I mean, that's like if Star Wars, the prequels, they just redid the originals again,
Right.
just did it 20 years later, which is like, why?
Well, I mean,
That doesn't really,
they
that defeats the
they
purpose.
kind of did that with the sequel to an
Well,
extent.
yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, well, first of all, they tried, they failed miserably because they didn't understand how to anything. But yeah, again, don't do that. Try to make
Don't.
your own thing, but also don't like completely ignore everything else that's been established in your universe. Also, that yeah, there's a little balance there.
Yep.
But
And again,
yeah, I mean,
I just feel so bad for the kid they're gonna cast to play Harry Potter. The kid,
yeah,
you
it's gonna
know,
get screwed.
the actor who plays Snape, like Alan Rickman, like I said, was perfect for that role. And I just fear like are all the actors who are gonna be in this new series, are they just gonna be doing impressions of the actors from the original movies? Because like I said, Snape was like one to one, like exactly how that character should be imagined.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's gonna be weird if anybody tries to do that again. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's just not gonna work. I don't know. I worry about this decision making, but it's out of my hands. So
Whenever I of the three things we talked about today, that's probably the one that has the most likely chance of not actually happening. But knowing Warner Brothers these days, they're gonna at least try everything. Like even if it's a bad idea, they're gonna try it. So you know, we'll see.
we'll see. Unfortunately,
Yep. Something I am super excited about. It looks like Clayface will probably be at least one of the villains in the Batman Part Two.
it's a great. I think that's a good one. That's gonna work very well because I think the way they've established the city in kind of a dark place makes it make sense for like and like it's more mystery based and I feel like they'll use Clayface more in
Mm-hmm.
the shape shifting aspect more than the giant destructive monster aspect,
Yes,
and I think that'll work very well.
because they could kind of do the thing where, like, when Clayface first started in the 50s, I think he started out as an actor
Mm-hmm.
who, like, got mad that they remade his horror movie, which you could go kind of meta with that because like this is the ninth the ninth reboot of Batman, more or less. Like you could try to kind of get meta with that. I don't think they should, but like it would be kind of fun if
It
they,
could be a little something, yeah.
yeah. And then he just was like a kind of generic serial killer for a while, and then the character got rebooted to become the big giant sludge monster. So you either have him as the disgraced actor in like a spin-off show or in like the Penguin or Arkham show, and then at some point later like become the sludge monster or to start as a sludge monster. I just don't want them to just do another, oh, he's another weird serial killer guy that Batman has to figure out how to stop, because we did that with
Yeah,
Riddler.
I don't think he has to even be a serial killer. He could just be like use shapeshifting to like destroy this, not destroy the city, but like bring the city to its knees as it may.
Mm-hmm.
He just pretends to be you know different important figures and like takes money from accounts. changes certain things,
Mhm.
just like whatever to just mess things up.
Yeah, and I think Clayface is one of those characters that although he probably could carry his own movie, he definitely feels like a character that like I think like could benefit from being paired with someone else. Like there's some
Yes,
mastermind
yes,
and he's like helping enact the plan.
yes.
Um,
I agree. I think Clayface is a great number two option.
yeah, like I don't know if that'll if Clayface is the villain, cool. If he's just one of the just one of them, that's cool as well. Harvey Dent's probably going to become Two Face at some point, either in this one or the next one. Um, you know, take your pick for whoever else is going to be in this, but Clayface is a
I mean,
character I've always wanted to see in live action. I never thought they'd actually do it, so we'll see how they do it.
yeah. I mean, again, I think just to keep it grounded, they'll probably just keep it more shape shifting than just giant attacking venom looking monster.
Mm,
But yeah, I think that would definitely work well.
yeah, I think he wouldn't like become a giant monster until the very very end, if he ever
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Probably just yeah, they could do something. Then Batman gets like liquid nitrogen or something. I don't know. That'd
Mm,
be kind of cool.
yeah. Ooh, ooh! I just had a fun thought, like, because we
Oh,
haven't actually seen Batman's parents get murked yet, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Which was a nice change of pace.
Yeah. Like, I it'd be kind of fun if there was like one scene where Clayface like gets a glimpse at like a family portrait or something, like a picture of Thomas Wayne, and he like pretends to be either Thomas or Martha to like while Batman is doing something, he's like,
Yeah, and then he like that's how he like how did you know it was me? And he's like, I always know or something. He's like, I'll never forget or something like that. I
uh
don't know. Or like,
huh.
those were always the best. Those were always the best ones where it's like they're the only possible way he would have known it was, or like when Clayface is Bruce Wayne and Batman just beams him immediately because
Uh-huh.
he's just like, nope.
Mhm. Um, but yeah, I don't want Hush to be in this movie because I think just the way Riddler was in the last movie felt close enough to what Hush would do anyway. I don't really think
Mhm.
like I don't want that to happen. Although the whole like kind of like in the Batman Hush animated one, like Clayface was there a little bit.
Mhm.
Like that that pairing makes sense. Um, but like I don't necessarily want Hush to be the main villain. But again, I trust Matt Reeves with my life at this point. I think he could easily make that work and be very different from Riddler. So
100%.
yeah, I just want to now, but it's fine. It's coming out in October of 2025, so long from
Jeez.
now. So far. Oh well. Um, all right. Moving on to one of my favorite things we do here, bad movie backlog. So, how much how much about the Power Rangers do you know? How much were you exposed to it growing up, really?
Very little. I
Very
know
little.
they're different colors and they fight monsters. That is the extent of my knowledge.
That's all you really need to know. Because today we're talking about the Power Rangers movie from 2017. I was dragged to this in theaters. I thought it looked like fun. I knew it wasn't going to be good, but I thought it looked like, it could be a fun time. Um, so this might be a weird, this might be a kind of weird statement to start this off with, but go with me. I think the thing that movie studios didn't understand is that the reason the Transformers movies did as well as they did, was because they weren't clearly trying to rip off the Transformers movies. like that weird that like new gritty reboot of a childhood nostalgia bait thing that was just made to sell toys, like make this thing, make this this kids thing for a new grown up audience, and add like weird adult jokes and CG, like
Yeah,
so much
jokes.
CG, like focus more on the human characters, like every single major studio saw that and it's like, oh, we can do that too. GI Joe, Ninja Turtles, again, Power Ranger. I know there are many others, but those are just the ones that came
And,
to my head. And I feel like this movie was kind of like the last hurrah for that kind of movie, because you know after this and Transformers: The Last Night came out in 2017, the Transformers series kind of soft rebooted to the Bumblebee series, and now Rise of the Beast, which looks like it's focusing actually more on the Transformers now. Ninja Turtles is now going to animation, which is fantastic. Like any other reboot is getting actual series on Netflix or HBO or something. So like clearly, this movie showed that that is unsustainable, and it is, because like the Power Rangers are inherently goofy. Like there is not a serious bone in that entire franchise, and that's okay.
well, they own it. That's their thing. They just
Yeah,
kind of like, yeah, we're basically walking action figures.
yeah, and that's fine. Like they even like just like the monsters show up in like these clearly like puffy suits, and like they do all these like exaggerated motions, and even when the monsters go huge, it's clearly just like a man in a suit in a model city just like stomping around. So when the Megazord shows up, it's two just essentially big action figures just punching each other, and it's great. It's like I personally thought it was like really dumb growing up, but around like age 10 I kind of grew up like had like kind of like grew a weird appreciation for it.
Hmm.
And this movie has none of that. This movie is like, it's not, I wouldn't say it's as bad necessarily as Fantastic Four 2015, but it's,
Whoa.
the comparison is there. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Those are some strong accusations.
right, because in that movie, like it's like it's very similar, because in that movie they got their powers like about halfway through, and they didn't actually really get to be the Fantastic Four until the very end of the movie. The exact same thing happened here, where they got
Uh,
to the big spaceship to get their abilities, and then they couldn't actually morph. They couldn't actually get their battle armor on. It's like, oh well, I guess we'll just train until you can figure it out. So they train for a while, and they still can't do it. They train for a little bit longer, they still can't do it. Like they have a whole like bonding session, still can't do it. And then and then finally, like as the town is being destroyed by this giant gold monster who's just like a big CGI mess. They finally are able to do it, and then the pacing of this movie is atrocious. So like they the main villain of the movie, and at least of the original show, her name is Rita Repulsa, which is very on the nose. I love
ooh.
that. Which, side tangent, I feel like just the way this movie is, the fact that it does take itself so seriously, and you have you have a character named Rita Repulsa, just doesn't doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like Elizabeth Banks, she did the best she could with what she was given, I guess, but like, the voice was fine, but it wasn't like as exaggerated as like we would want it to be. Her design looked very just she looked a lot like the Enchantress from 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 Suicide Squad. Um,
Mm.
again, just everything is very muted, very just like dull looking, just in general. So like about 2/3 through the movie, they have a chance to try to stop Rita Repulsa. So like she she shows up at one of their houses. The girl who specifically like her trauma, like her deal, that her parents are super overbearing, like they won't let her do anything. That are like they're like trying to like micromanage her life. She just want to like get away from it all. Rita shows up at her house and like throws her around. Which the Power Rangers all have like enhanced their ability and strength and stuff. By the way,
Mm.
even without their suits on, which I'm not sure if that's canon to the show, but it's whatever. But she's like throwing the Yellow Ranger around the room and like trying to torture her to get information out and like leaving dents in the wall and like knocking stuff over, and the parents just never show up to like see what's going on.
What?
Like the entire time, like like the mom earlier in the movie, the mom wanted the Yellow Ranger to pee in a cup because she was afraid she maybe took drugs or something. It's like, but she didn't hear her like banging against the walls and being thrown over. Like, oh, okay, sure.
That's literally just like, you're literally getting attacked by a supervillain. Your mom's like, it's because of that dang phone, and you're just like, what do you mean? Like, what? Did you not see the supervillain come into our home? Are you? How is that even remotely a lesson here?
Right. So so like she tells the Yellow Ranger to like to meet her at the docks or whatever. So the Yellow Ranger tells the other guys, the other members of the team, like she's gonna be there. We can go stop her. So they all again don't have their suits. They just don't have their suits. They all go to the dock, get just stomped.
Get stopped.
One of them dies.
Wait, one of the Power
one,
Rangers
one of the Power
dies?
Rangers dies. They bring him back to the ship, and like his death, I guess, brings them all close enough together they can all power up, and them powering up the the brings the Blue Ranger back to life. I don't know.
Huh?
Yeah. So so Blue Ranger's
Wait,
back.
wait, oh,
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
Is the Blue Ranger the Black Power
Yes,
Ranger?
yes.
No!
Hey, it could have been worse. In the original show, the Black
Oh,
Ranger was the black one.
I mean, I guess, but like, no. Why do we have to? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in the
Of
original
course.
show, the Black Ranger was the black guy, and the Yellow Ranger was the Asian girl. Which, like, I don't know if that was
Oh, I.
intentional, but like, you know.
Yeah, I could see that could be. We'll say controversial.
Yeah. Um. So we're like an hour and 30 minutes into the 2 hour movie, and we've only seen there was like one. I think it was the Blue Ranger. The Blue Ranger, he like in just like a moment of panic, he turned into his blue armor like an hour before during training or something, but the others still couldn't do it,
Okay.
and he couldn't like reactivate it. So we're an hour 30 minutes in before the Power Rangers are finally actually Power Rangers, and they like slow mo walk out of the ship and like go try to get to the town, but they're stopped by like they're called putties, like the main what are they called? Like grunt enemies are called putties, like big rock monsters. So they fight some putties for just like 2 minutes. Like only the Red Ranger is allowed to summon his weapon. Like he like spawns his sword out of his hand, because the suits just look like Iron Man suits. They function like them too. Like he summons a sword out of his hand like to fight, but like none of the others get guns or swords or any of their iconic weapons. Um,
What? So wait, only one of them has a weapon?
yep, yep. Maybe they would have been able to get more in there if the Black Ranger hadn't come. Again, maybe 2 minutes. They're fighting these putties for maybe 2 minutes as the Power Rangers, and then the Black Ranger comes in with his Megazord, like sweeps them all away, and then they all get into their Megazords and then go towards the final battle, and then they're just in their Zords for the rest of the time. So,
He's a very
like as much as I love giant robots, like you can't just have them be the Power Rangers for 2 minutes of a Power Rangers movie.
no, that's not gonna work.
Like you easily could have had them, get their suits, train a little bit. You can still have them get beat up by Rita, not have one of them die. Like it just or fight like another like mini boss or just you could just there's so many other better ways to have this work. But instead they're the Power Rangers for all of 2 minutes. They get in their big robots, they go towards the city, and then how in the show the big robots can like fuse together into an even bigger robot.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
like combine. They almost have their own Transformers
Yeah.
almost.
Um, in this movie, the big gold villain like monster thing called Goldar, sure, Goldar has like punched a hole, like basically like down like almost towards the center of the planet to like take out this seed that gives life, because Rita wants that for some reason. Um, so like they're trying to defend, they're trying to like stop Goldar from entering the hole, and they all get pushed. They're all in their big robots. They all get pushed into the hole, and like the heat from the Earth magma like fuses the robots together. They don't do a thing where they like fuse together. They or like intentionally like it. They just like it looked like it wasn't supposed to happen, but it
He
worked
just
for
kind of
some
did.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they beat the bad guy. Like,
Woo!
but of course, you it's got to be a realistic, gritty reboot thing. So even because they're 50 foot tall robot and 50 foot tall giant monster thing, they got to do the thing that all movies do nowadays, where like if something is giant, it moves super slow, and then like so. And again, I'll reiterate, in the original show, when you get to the part where you're in your Super Megazord and the big guy, who they're just people in suits, they're just fighting and just as normal people speed. Here, super slow punch, super slow kick. It looked like it just lacked all impact, and it was dumb. And they didn't even do the thing where they were like they like held up their little like I don't know symbol thing and like summoned their Megazord like pterodactyl,
Yeah,
like
yeah, like
or whatever. They didn't do that. They didn't even really pose together. They didn't do any of the iconic Power Ranger stuff. They just kind of they essentially checked off some boxes. Is like here's some things that technically happen in a Power Rangers movie. No, actually, here's what I'm gonna say. Here's some things that technically happen in the first episode of a Power Rangers season. The gang, kind of, your motley crew of 5 or 6, however many people, end up meeting together in a kind of comical way. They go to a place that gives them the Power Rangers abilities. They fight. They fight some goons. They fight a big monster. Yay!
yay.
Like that's
The end.
sometimes that's like a two-part, like a two-part opening thing to a series. So that happens in like 44 minutes max, if it's 2 episodes. here they spent 2 hours doing nothing. It took them an hour and a half to get to a point where in the show it takes them 22 minutes.
But you gotta build up the suspense because, like, maybe they won't bite the moth. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you gotta make them. Oh
Like
my god.
I can't even I can't even describe all the stuff they wasted time on doing because it was so dang boring. I can't even remember. Like there was something with like it was kind of hard to tell what era this movie was set in because all of the other kids that were in the high school, which this is one of those classic movies where all the characters are in high school, but they're all like 30 years old.
Yes.
All the other kids, like every single other kid, is like a stereotypical '90s bully. Like these two, these like these two cheerleader chicks, who are friends with the Pink Ranger. Something happened, and like she, like I don't know exactly what happened, but like something happened before the movie started to make Pink Ranger and her boyfriend break up in a very like
High
spectacular way.
school way.
And the Pink Ranger goes to the bathroom, and the two cheerleader girls like come up to her and is like we're cutting you out of the group, and they take a picture and like literally take scissors and cut her picture out and staple it to the wall.
No. I mean, that is really stupid, but you could see someone in high school doing something like that.
In the '90s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, now they just send you a text and they just remove you from the group me or whatever.
right. And
Like
there's a later time where they all clearly have cell phones, so it's not like it is set in the '90s. But there's this one bully who's bullying the Blue Ranger, and he's just like being a stereotypical like in your face like snapping pencils, like threatening to like beat up the guy. Like it's just it's just not it's not how bullies are anymore.
no.
Now they find you on social media and cyberbully you. It's just as effective, if not worse.
Probably more effective, to be honest.
And the other two rangers, the black and the yellow ranger, for some reason, the black ranger keeps calling the yellow ranger crazy girl when the black ranger is clearly off his meds. This man is clearly he shouts everything. He's just like super like just like any time there's like a chance to do something stupid, he'll always be the first one to do it. Like just yeah, he calls this other girl the crazy girl because I don't I don't know. I really don't know why. Just like it's not one of those things where like I could see this group of people being friends, I guess, but just even though we spent a lot of time doing nothing, we never really got a chance to like really learn much about them as a group. It's kind of individually, but not really as a group. And then the movie ends.
Well, it's like the movie spends so much time not doing anything,
Mm,
and then before you know it, the movie's over. You're just
yeah.
like,
And we
what
got a
did I just
lot.
watch?
We got a lot of time between red and blue. We got a lot of time between red and pink. A little bit of time between yellow and black, but like not. There like wasn't like as far as like a group dynamic. I never really like outside of just we're all super strong and durable now. Like what's up with that? Like, outside of that, there wasn't really anything like that brought them together. um, yeah, it's clear that this movie
No, come on.
idiot.
Yeah, sorry. Did you hear all
I heard
that?
something.
Yeah, my brother's struggling right now. He's playing. I think he's playing Final Fantasy, so he
Okay.
probably just got wrecked by a boss.
Got it. That was always fun. So it's clear that this movie was just trying so desperately to be the next Transformers franchise, even to the point where they had after credit scene that teased the Green Ranger,
Oh,
which like is the coolest Ranger.
that's always so like it's like when these terrible movies are so bold to be like, oh, but in the next one, it's like you are making a lot of assumptions right now.
Right? Like you, I will give them this though. They at least had the theme song. There was a
Oh,
30
really?
second bit where like they're in their giant robots like running towards the city where it does play the original theme song. So I'll give them that.
Okay, that's okay. That's a good fan service moment. But I feel like this movie needs when you're doing Power Rangers. I feel like most of the movie should be fan service.
I don't disagree. Yeah. but but also I think if you're making a Power Rangers movie, you should probably make a movie that's more than just the first episode of a series. Like bless you. Like again, I know they're trying to make it into a franchise, but just it
No,
just
they. I mean, again, like this is a movie. You didn't have to do this like you know wait an hour and 30 minutes in to even be the Power Rangers. Like that's so like no,
mm-hmm.
nobody wants like that's like doing a Batman movie where he's Bruce Wayne for like the entire movie. And
Right.
at the last second, he's like, maybe I'll try being Batman. It's like, you should have been Batman from the jump.
Uh
Like,
huh.
I didn't come here to see Bruce Wayne, the movie.
Yep. Like yeah, I don't recommend this movie, especially since you have no real connection to the Power Rangers at all. Like I don't even recommend it for Power Rangers fans. Maybe there's some fan service bits that you missed that I missed because I'm not like a mega fan, but you know I at least know
Oh, no.
a decent
And I
amount.
mean, this movie bombed, too, so I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like,
how much did it make? It was I saw it in I saw it in theaters. I don't know how much that helped. Yeah, let's see here. Come on. First 2017 box office. Oh no, $142.5 million.
ooh. Do you know how much the budget was?
Um, budget somewhere north of 100,
Ooh.
100 to 105 ish. So, uh,
I mean, with marketing, this movie probably actually lost money,
yeah, like maybe
which is insane.
I'm sure they had a decent amount of toy sales,
No.
but
Come on. Toy
I
sales?
I
I
haven't
mean, I know it's Power Rangers, but the movie specific Power
right,
Ranger toy sales?
especially since there's always a Power Rangers TV series going on at the same time. I
Hmm.
almost guarantee like the TV show toy sales were just way
Lumped
better
in.
than the
Like,
movie toys.
yeah, like they probably just like, oh, maybe we can make it look like that so it'll like fit. But it's like, wait, we're not going for
No,
this.
it not good. It is very not good. Like I don't regret watching it twice because like it's at least it's at least a kind of interesting bad. Like there are a couple of funny jokes here and there. It is a kind of like interesting movie to like dissect as you're watching it if you can get over how boring it is. But if you want a like a nostalgia bait fun action movie, watch something else. Watch one of those GI Joe movies or you know one like a Transformers thing or even the Ninja Turtles movies are better. Again, none of these are any good at all, but like, but better than Power Rangers. This stuff happens in those movies. Like it would essentially be like if in the first Transformers movie, like Bumblebee doesn't transform until halfway through once, and then doesn't again until 30 minutes before the movie ends. And like,
Yeah.
at least in that movie, there's like pretty consistently like every 20 minutes or so, there's like some big battle. At least something is going on, but that's not the case here.
I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, that just doesn't seem like there are swings and then there are misses and then there's tripping on the way up the plate, and this is probably the latter.
Yeah. I did remember while saying that I guess Snake Eyes was like I guess like the real final nail in
Ooh,
the coffin for this kind of movie.
ooh, I forgot about that. That we done this for that
Oh
movie,
yeah, we
right?
definitely have. Yeah, we
Okay, because I
fast
remember,
forward
like,
into
dude,
it.
that movie was it just
He didn't get the
that
suit
movie.
until 13 seconds before the credits.
It wasn't even like nothing. That movie wasn't even Snake Eyes. There was nothing in the movie that would make you think that that was what it was if it
Especially
wasn't
since
called
he
that.
talked the whole time. It's like, you're
That's
not
what I'm
supposed to
saying.
talk. There wasn't a moment where his vocal cords got
Well,
slashed or some accident
well, that
happened. No,
was
he
what
just
I
he
was
just.
saying. It's like he was talking. Like if there had been a point he had lost the ability to talk, or like he vowed silence or something, or just even something stupid. Like, but no, he just ends the movie and just keeps going. It's
Maybe
like,
that'll happen in the sequel.
oh, that movie was so frustrating. I don't even like GI Joe, and I was just like I was upset.
Right. Again, like I think I said it back then. It really gave me X Men Origins Wolverine energy.
Yes, it does. It kind of
Well,
does
at
have
least
that
that
vibe.
movie ended with him losing his memory, so at least he got that part kind of right.
Yes, but I mean, and
uh, so yeah, no more unless it's good. Again, Rise of the Beasts for Transformers looks decent. The Ninja Turtles animated thing looks amazing. That She-Ra cartoon on Netflix is really good. The He-Man show on Netflix is okay. It kind of goes off the rails, but it's at least a fun animated thing. Like there are ways to do nostalgia bait, just not in a boring, gritty, weird, you know, live action reboot. Doesn't work.
yeah.
Okay. Is there
Ugh.
anything else you want to bring up or discuss before we sign off today?
I have a little something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you know that we've talked about that animated Superman show coming. It's called My
Right.
Adventures with Superman. They
Yes.
had a little teaser. It was only like 15 seconds, but like from what I saw, I was pretty intrigued. I was like, okay, this looks good. I like the animation.
Mm-hmm.
Superman looks good. He's got the he's got the trunks, which is always a plus in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
But he's also got, looks like he got longer boots, kind of like, the S looks more like it looks less like an S and more just kind of like a symbol that could be
Yeah.
interpreted as an S, which is fine. But everything looked good about it. I was like, okay, cool. I'm
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah. The animation style was giving Invincible vibes, which I'm
Yeah.
all for. I love
Yeah.
Invincible. Um,
No, but man, it just yeah, I like the anime. Yeah, it does kind of give that vibe. It's almost like yeah, it does look good. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what they do with it. I've become a much bigger fan of Superman
oh yeah.
lately, so I think I'm really for it.
Yeah. And it's the first standalone Superman show since the original
The
show
animated
in the 90s.
series.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like I hope
It's
I
about
hope
time.
people give it the attention it deserves. I hope it's as good as people are hoping it'll be. Like it has potential to be something pretty good. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is one of those things that like this show was announced like 2 years ago,
Yeah, and just I completely forgot about it.
right? Like I thought it was canceled, and then trailers like okay, sure.
Like super teaser trailer, like not like you don't
Hmm.
see much of anything. Like
Yeah,
you see Superman, but that's about it.
yeah. It's coming out sometime this summer. I think it's on Adult Swim. I don't think it's gonna be like
Yes,
a
which that is the one thing I was like, huh?
yeah. Like, did they just lose all confidence in HBO? I don't know.
Which I don't know about that. That one's kind of odd to me, but
Whatever. I'm sure it'll get over there eventually. So
yeah, more than likely.
yeah.
I don't know, but like Superman stuff has been doing better. Like that Superman and Lois show was very good,
Mm-hmm.
especially especially what the Superman stuff is
Mm.
really enjoyable, and I think that's going well. And also just like I know we're coming out with the Superman Legacy's coming out pretty in a few
Mm-hmm.
years, and I think I think with between like Zack Snyder Superman and Invincible and the Boys with Homelander, I think it's time to bring back Superman the original way he was supposed to be, kind
Yes.
of the actual like beacon of hope person.
I need the new Superman series to bring Superman back to his roots so that in a future Justice League thing, the Crime Syndicate Ultraman can be just as cool as Ultraman can be.
Yeah.
Like I love the Crime Syndicate, Owlman, Superman, or Ultraman, Superwoman, like that. That
Mm-hmm.
needs to be Crisis on Two Earths needs to happen in live action. The animated movie is okay, but I want that. I
That
want
movie is pretty solid.
yeah.
I do like that. I will ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
If they did do that,
Right.
would you do the thing kind of like where they did in the cartoon, where they just make them the same but just slightly different colors? Or would you completely go like, would you have the same actors or would you have completely different actors?
So in the cartoon, they actually had different voice actors for each variant, um,
Really? I
which
didn't
I
know
thought was fun. In the Justice League Unlimited or whichever one it was in, they did the same voice actors, which
that.
also
Oh,
worked
yeah,
very
okay.
well. Um,
I feel like it'd be
I
almost better with different
yeah,
characters.
I think they should do completely different actors. Like I don't want them to do a thing where like they they cast like a previous Superman or whatever to play
No,
him, but that
I was thinking it for like a second, but I was like, no, that'd be
no.
lame. No, I don't want to you don't want to reopen that can of
Mm,
worms. Although it would make sense as far as how it's written.
yeah.
Be like, oh yeah, this Batman kills people. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, just like we've had evil Superman stuff with Injustice and yeah, like I said
yeah,
the
that
boy with
too.
Invincible and whatnot. Like I need Ultraman like in live action. Like it's a thing that I've always because there are just so many Justice League stories they could tell. There's a crisis every other week now. Uh, even like you know what's it called? In Blackest Night is more or less of a
Mhm.
Justice League story. Um, obviously stuff with Darkseid, Starro, there's other various aliens. Legion of Doom is going to be in there somewhere. Like,
Yeah,
there's just so many different things they could do that they could center a Justice League movie around. This needs to be one of them at some point. Yeah, yeah, like
yeah, definitely. And I feel yeah, and like you said, you can't set up that like parallel if it's been so long since we've seen what they're paralleling to.
mm-hmm.
And I think this is important to kind of bring Superman back to its roots. And again, Superman is not a boring character just because he's a good person. It's like it's him being a good person that makes him a good character, and it's like that's the important part. Like
Mm.
people kind of miss that because they're like, oh, but Superman should be like this. It's like, but he's not. That's why
Yeah,
he's Superman. Like it's not against the grain to make evil Superman. It's against the grain to make Superman a good person because most people with that ability would not be. That's the whole idea.
right.
But
Yeah,
eh,
like like Superman can be firm, like he can be intimidating, but he's not a bad person. Yeah.
No, no. What he wants, he's a guy from a small town who just wants to help people and do the
Mm-hmm.
right thing. The biggest. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Because again, the guy was the raised as a farmer. Like he's
Yeah.
not he's not this warlord guy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he can lift the planet, but I mean, you know,
Yeah. Like if you know threaten his family or one of his loved ones, you might
ooh,
regret it. But as far as
yeah,
like he won't just go out of his way to slaughter millions just
vaporize
because he thinks
people.
they might be doing
Yeah,
bad or whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Which yeah, I think Injustice kind of ruined that a bit. I don't. I've grown
It's,
come
I
around to
mean,
not
it's
really
not.
liking that story very much.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even injustice. It's just like it's like that combined with everything else, with Zack Snyder Superman casually killing people, and the we see Homelander just vaporize people for
Yeah.
funsies, and kind of the same with Omni Man ripping people in half because he can, and like
Hmm.
it's like all that together. And like, when was the last time you saw like a traditional Superman?
I mean,
Like, because even the new 52 like movies, the Superman kind of felt like kind of more on the Zack Snyder vibe than like
yeah,
the typical. So it's been like forever since there's been like a legitimately like, yeah, that's Superman.
yeah, and like Zack Snyder's Justice League, there were some moments that got kind of close, but then when he actually was Superman, all he did was just obliterate Steppenwolf, like
Yeah.
like showing no mercy. Which I don't know, like it just
Which, like, I
I
guess
get
is
it,
fair because I mean that's an alien warlord. I don't expect him to be like, excuse me, but like,
but I don't know.
yeah, no, I agree though. It felt very. It's hard to feel like that when he's not showing you anything up to that point that feels like it.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's just
And
the result.
I understand the value of a new interpretation of this character. Like, yes, if a Superman did exist, people probably would worship him if he saved a whole burning building or whatever. I get that, but like that. I don't like that scene in the BVS where that one lady is just on the top of a roof during a flood, like reaching out to him. He's hovering there. Like, is he about to save her? Did he put her on that roof? Is he just like looking at her as she's like praying to him? Like what's going on there? I don't like. It's up for interpretation, but I don't like half the interpretations.
Yeah. Yeah, they try to make him too like Jesus-y, and it's like I feel like Superman himself would not go for that.
Yeah,
I feel like he would be like,
especially since he's a very obvious Moses allegory. But whatever, it's fine.
yeah, it's kind of like, like, hey guys, I'm just trying to do the right thing. Like, don't. It's like I'm not like, don't worship me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I'm just a guy.
Mm-hmm.
In Superman's head, he's just a firefighter at just a higher level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He doesn't see himself as this intense being, like this, like ultimate being. Although he clearly is. But
Right. But,
mm,
but yeah, I hope that Superman Legacy is going to be at least closer to that. James Gunn has already said that his this movie is going to be nothing like any Superman movie we've seen before, which in
interesting.
some ways, I believe him because he's a crazy man. But like
This is true.
the Christopher Reeve ones are pretty close to what I want. Like not
Yeah,
exactly like that, but general
but like
vibe.
updated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and yeah, the this new animated show. I hope it's good. I hope it's well received, and yeah. Anything else you want to bring up?
That's all I've got.
All right. So with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care.